At first glance, a truck stop seems like the perfect place for a driver to spend the night. There is fuel, hot food, coffee, showers, restrooms, repair services, and rows of parking spaces built for 18-wheelers. To anyone outside the trucking industry, it looks safe and convenient. But ask an experienced long-haul trucker where they hate trying to sleep.
Yeah, I saw that.
And many will give you the same answer: a crowded truck stop. The real problem begins long before the driver climbs into the sleeper berth. It begins with a race against the clock. Every afternoon, thousands of truck drivers start checking parking apps, watching exit signs, and calculating how far they can legally travel before their driving time runs out. The driver may still feel alert. The highway may be clear, but if that driver waits too long to stop, there may be no legal truck parking left. Truckers do not always stop when they are tired. Many stop when they believe they can still find a parking space. On major freight corridors, that can mean shutting down at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Imagine having productive hours left, but ending in the day early because every truck stop ahead may be full before sunset. It sounds inefficient, yet it may be the smartest decision of the day. Federal hours of service rules limit how long commercial drivers can remain behind the wheel. When the legal driving window closes, the truck must stop. Continuing can mean violations, fine, damage to a safety record, or a serious accident. Now imagine hundreds of trucks following similar schedules, traveling the same interstate and searching for overnight parking during the same evening hours. The result is not a normal parking lot, and is a nightly competition. Drivers circle crowded lots hoping someone pulls out. Others wait near the entrance. Some continue to the next exit only to discover that the next truck stop is full too. By nightfall, trucks may be lined along curbs, squeezed beside fuel islands, or parked on entrance and exit ramps. For a new driver, this can be terrifying. The electronic logbook is counting down, traffic is building, fatigue is increasing. Every glowing truck stop sign creates hope, followed by the same view, a wall of trailers with no empty space. When a driver finally finds a spot, most people assume the difficult part is over. It is not. The driver has traded the stress of finding parking for the stress of trying to sleep inside a parking lot that never becomes quiet. A truck stop does not shut down at midnight. It operates 24 hours a day because trucking operates 24 hours a day. Refrigerated trailers cycle on and off. Diesel engines idle. Auxiliary power units vibrate. Air brakes hiss. Doors slam. Fuel pumps beep. Drivers talk outside. Then come the late arrivals. At 1 in the morning, another tractor trailer enters looking for space. At 2:30, someone backs into the spot beside you. At 4, another engine starts and pulls away. Every arrival brings headlights across the sleeper curtains, backup alarms, engine noise, and 80,000 pounds of equipment moving only a few feet from where someone is trying to sleep. Inside the cab, the driver may be lying on a mattress. Outside, the entire parking lot is still working. That is why many truckers do not get one long, peaceful night of sleep. They sleep in fragments. They drift off, wake up to a brake release, fall asleep again, and then open their eyes when another truck shakes the pavement. Drivers use blackout curtains, fans, earplugs, and careful parking choices. But noise is not the only problem. Safety is another major reason drivers hate sleeping at truck stops. A tractor trailer may be carrying hundreds of thousands of dollars in cargo, and the driver is sleeping only a few feet away. Most truck stops are open public spaces. People can walk between trailers at any hour. Cars can enter and leave without much attention. Some locations have cameras or patrols, but many drivers still feel exposed. A strange knock on the cab door at 2 in the morning instantly changes the atmosphere. Maybe it is another driver asking for help. Maybe someone has the wrong truck. Maybe it is harmless, but a driver waking from deep sleep does not know that. Cargo thieves may cut seals, open doors, slice trailers, siphon diesel fuel, or steal tools and truck parts. The driver may hear a sound and wonder whether it came from their trailer, the truck next to them, or something ordinary. That uncertainty keeps people awake. Some drivers travel with dogs. Others use exterior cameras, padlocks, alarms, motion lights, and extra security devices. Veterans avoid dark corners, inspect trailer seals, and choose spaces covered by cameras when possible. This is not paranoia, and is part of protecting the truck, the cargo, and themselves. Then there is another danger: being hit while parked. Truck stop spaces are tight. Visibility is limited. Drivers arrive tired, sometimes in rain, snow, or darkness, and must back long trailers between expensive equipment. One small mistake can damage a mirror, bumper, sleeper cab, or trailer. Some drivers wake up because they feel the truck shake. Others hear a scrape and discover that the truck responsible is already leaving. The driver can also wake up trapped. Someone may create an unofficial parking row behind the legal spaces. A truck may block the exit or reduce the turning room. One poorly positioned trailer can delay several drivers before sunrise. So why do drivers not simply avoid truck stops? Many try. Rest areas fill quickly and often have very few truck spaces. Warehouses may not allow overnight parking. Some customer gates remain locked until the appointment time. Street parking may be illegal. Retail parking lots were once a common backup option. Today, they are less reliable because of local ordinances, property rules, liability concerns, and past problems. That can leave a driver with terrible choices. Keep driving while exhausted and risk violating hours of service rules. Park on a shoulder and risk being struck. Stop on an exit ramp and risk a ticket. Use an isolated industrial road and worry about personal safety. Or return to the crowded truck stop and accept the noise, lights, and lack of privacy. This is why the truck parking shortage is more than an inconvenience. It affects driver fatigue, highway safety, fuel use, delivery schedules, income, and the entire supply chain. A driver may burn valuable time and diesel fuel searching for parking instead of moving freight. For owner-operators, every unnecessary mile costs money. Every early shutdown can reduce earning potential. And yet, despite all of these problems, truckers continue using truck stops every night. Why? Because truck stops still provide things drivers cannot easily find anywhere else. A hot shower after a long day, a real restroom, a cooked meal, laundry machines, truck safe fuel lanes, coffee at 3 in the morning, replacement lights, fluids, fuses, gloves, chargers, and emergency supplies. For someone who lives on the road, these are not luxuries. They are necessities. Truck stops also provide something more human. Long-haul trucking can be extremely lonely. A driver may spend 10 or 11 hours alone behind the wheel, communicate with dispatch through short messages, eat alone, and sleep alone. Inside a truck stop, that driver may finally speak face-to-face with someone who understands the job. Another trucker understands losing hours at a shipper, fighting traffic, dealing with a difficult dock, searching for parking, or hearing a strange mechanical noise hundreds of miles from home. For a few minutes over coffee, drivers exchange road information, discuss weather, warn each other about parking, and feel part of a community. That is why the relationship between truckers and truck stops is complicated. Drivers may hate sleeping there, but they still depend on them. Experienced drivers learn how to reduce the risk. They plan parking before the day begins. Instead of driving until the final legal minute, they identify several stopping locations along the route. They check parking apps, reviews, satellite images, and driver reports. They create a primary option, a backup option, and sometimes a third emergency option. Veteran truckers also plan backward from the next appointment. Where is the delivery? What time does it open? Does the customer allow overnight parking? How heavy will morning traffic be? Can the truck leave easily? A good parking decision is not only about finding an empty rectangle on the pavement, it is about setting up the next day. A rookie may see 2 hours left on the electronic logbook and think there is plenty of time. A veteran sees 2 hours and asks how many safe parking options remain. A difference can separate a calm evening from a dangerous one. Drivers also learn which spaces to avoid. Parking beside a refrigerated trailer may mean engine noise all night. Parking near the fuel island brings constant traffic. Parking near the entrance means headlights and horns. Parking at the end of a road can increase the chance of being clipped. The quietest space is not always the safest, and the safest space is not always the easiest to exit. Every decision is a compromise. That is the bigger truth. Sleep is one of the most important parts of trucking, but the trucking environment is often designed around moving freight, not helping human beings recover. Drivers are expected to remain alert, protect valuable cargo, meet delivery schedules, follow federal regulations, handle traffic, weather, construction, and mechanical problems, and then somehow sleep deeply inside a noisy public parking lot. The next time you pass a truck stop after dark and see hundreds of trucks packed into every available space, remember what may be happening inside those cabs. Some drivers are checking locks, some are listening for movement near the trailer, some are trying to ignore an idling engine beside the window. Some are worried about tomorrow's delivery. Others spend the previous hour searching for the one legal space that finally allowed them to stop. While most people sleep behind locked doors in quiet homes, thousands of truck drivers spend the night behind a thin metal wall in a parking lot that never truly stops moving. That's why truck drivers hate sleeping at truck stops. Not because truck stops are useless, but because the place that is supposed to provide rest often becomes another stressful part of the job. Until America creates more safe truck parking, improves overnight security, and treats driver rest as a serious highway safety issue, this nightly battle will continue. Now I want to hear from the truck drivers watching. What is the worst truck stop experience you have ever had? Impossible parking, non-stop noise, cargo theft, a damaged truck, or a late night knock on the door? Share your story in the comments, because people outside the trucking industry need to understand what life on the road is really like. And if you are not a truck driver, answer this honestly before watching this video. Did you know that finding a safe place to sleep could be one of the hardest parts of trucking? Subscribe for more real stories about truck driver life, long-haul trucking, truck stop parking, life on the road, and the hidden challenges behind the American supply chain. Because every product on a store shelf spent part of its journey behind a truck driver who still had to find a safe place to park at the end of the day.